Um, Welcome, everyone, to the second part of our How to Write a Killer Bio webinar series. I'm Emily Hall, the VP of Marketing for Charette Venture Group. So this will be a working session. I hope you all brought your bios to share. If not, it's okay. There's still going to be plenty to learn by observing. So this will be a casual presentation with only a few slides, more conversational. And before we start, allow me to tell you a little bit more about Charette Venture Group and our presenter, Xylea Burrows. At Charette Venture Group, we call it CVG. Our mission is to help small architecture and design firms be better businesses. We offer services to support all aspects of running your design firm, such as business planning, marketing and business development, financial management, operations, organizational design, leadership and management, recruiting, ownership transition, and a whole lot more. Basically all services that aren't architecture per se. And we offer these services through a few different business models. So I encourage you to reach out to us to learn more if you're seeking help in any or all of these areas. Just schedule a call with us. We love learning more about your firm. I'll introduce Xylea. So Xylea Burrows is CVG's Director of Marketing and Communications. She directs the marketing programs of CVG clients. As a marketing and communications strategist with more than 18 years of experience, she previously ran her own consulting business that helped innovative firms increase their revenue and visibility. She also served as marketing manager at two prominent architecture firms in Portland, Oregon, and as programs director at the Portland chapter of the American Institute of Architects. Xylea graduated with a BA in English Literature from New York University, and she is location independent and coming to us from Berlin today. So welcome, Xylea.
Thank you so much, Emily. Oh, thank you, Julie. Great bio. It's funny because, of course, I'm the most critical of my own bio. I prefer helping you all with yours. So welcome, everybody. I'm so glad that you're here. And I see a couple familiar names. So excited. I actually really love these working sessions. I think they're way more fun than a typical slideshow. But I did have some slides, but first I want to just get a sense of how many people brought their bios, because if a lot of you brought bios, I'm really gonna speed through the couple slides I have. So yeah, just raising hands would be great.
Yeah, use the raise hand function so we can count easily, please.
So we have 4, it looks like, 4 bios that people brought. Okay, 5, okay. So I might show you all the slides just because I think we'll have time. It's not a slideshow because we promised you it's not a slideshow, but I did want to show you all a simple bio formula that I use just in case you weren't at the first webinar we did, which is how to actually craft your professional bio. We did it almost 2 years ago. Feels like yesterday, but just in case you didn't have a chance to rewatch that, I'm just going to quickly show you the bio formula and just where I'm coming from before we look at your bios, because I want you all to know what I think is kind of the rhyme and reason behind the choices and edits that I may have for you. I think it's really important to understand. So the first thing I just want to say is we really consider the professional bio statement, we consider it to be a really concise, concise yet thorough overview of your professional history. And you want your bio to really be client focused, just like you want all the copy on your website to really speak directly to your target clients. So I just like to make that a point early and often because, a lot of people I work with bios, they want to put everything in there they've done over their 30-year history, which is great. They should be very proud of that. But a much longer, extensive bio belongs somewhere else. It belongs in your memoirs or your, maybe on your website where you have lots of room to talk about your work history. But we're talking about, really a 1-paragraph, 2-paragraph bio statement. Typically you see them on firm websites with the headshot. So I just want to be clear that that's where we're coming from. We think that all the bios should speak directly to your clients. So yeah, I'm going to show you the sample bio formula to start with. One moment as I share my screen. Can you see that, Emily?
You can.
Okay. So this is where I'm coming from, everyone. I've developed this over the years because I've written probably hundreds of bios at this point for architects, engineers, and other professions as well. So again, take this with a grain of salt. This is my bio formula I've developed over the years. You can completely change it, but this is just something really simple I wanted to share with you. I have found it really valuable if you're starting from scratch or you really just want to overhaul your bio. This is a really good place to start. So what I like to start with is obviously your name, maybe your title, but really the role you play or the value that you particularly bring to your profession, to your clients, to your audience, to your team, whatever it is that you focus on. So that first sentence should be pretty powerful. You want people to, potential clients, to be intrigued, and you want them to read the rest of the bio. So you don't want to lose them in the first sentence. This is really important because a lot of the bios I've seen that I would say are less successful or when they start with, Xylea is from St. Louis, Missouri. Like, I have 4 decades of life experience. Like where I was born has no relevancy whatsoever to my career at this point in time. So a lot of people still do this where they start where they were born, where they're from. Only if your architecture is directly inspired by like where you're from, you're from a special place and that informs all the design work you do, then maybe it's relevant. But for most people, you don't want to start with the way back history. So you want to start your first sentence with a bang if you can, and then the second sentence or two, second, third sentence, that's kind of, you can play with this a little bit, but I like to just back up the first sentence. So I'm going to pick on Julie. Julie is a principal of HKP Architects. She, over her XYZ experience, she has focused on sustainable design, community architecture, passive house, like really try to flesh out that first kind of thesis statement with some backup information. And then here you can also say, she is very involved with the community. She serves on the board of XYZ. And then the next paragraph, you can kind of say more about your educational history, relevant certifications you have. Xylea has a degree from English literature, from NYU. She's written for several publications. It's not the most important thing about me. It's not the most recent thing. So that's why it kind of goes at the bottom. But sometimes maybe, my potential audience, maybe they care. They want to make sure I have a degree. I don't know. So, you want to maybe stick it in there. But again, it goes down in the order. And then we're going to talk about this a little bit, but a lot of firms we work with, they want to have some firms we work with want to have lighthearted, fun, almost humorous, personal information. So they really want to have, outside of work, so-and-so loves chasing his toddlers around and he loves painting and he loves riding his motorcycle through the Catskills. And then some firms really want to have just a more professional, more formal image, and they don't have any personal or family or hobby information at all, which is completely fine. So the choice that your firm has to make, it really depends on your brand. So your firm's brand and how all of your communications should sound. So that's where you need to think about kind of the voice of the overall firm. Do you want to be approachable and friendly and warm? Then you maybe want to consider having some personal information. Again, if you're at a huge, massive firm and it's really more about your professional capabilities, again, maybe drop some of the really, personal information. And then the call to action, if it makes sense, you can add it. If it makes sense, you can say, to learn more or to contact me, please email Julie at XYZ. Or follow HKP Architects at this Instagram account. So if it makes sense for your website, then you want to put a call to action. Okay. Just wanted to cover some of that ground. I'm not saying thank you yet. We're not letting you go yet. Okay. So I think we're ready to start. Whoever wants to go first. And Emily said some people have to leave early. So maybe someone who has to leave early can go first.
Well, what we can do is just post your bios in the chat window, and we'll just them as we get them. Copy and paste and put them in the chat window, and hopefully that'll work. I think it will. If we have trouble with that, I can unmute you and you can read your bios. It's always easier to look at them though. There we go. Julie on the spot. Okay. Can you see that, Celia?
I can. Yep. I need to make that bigger.
Perfect.
How do I do that? Hold on.
You need to do one?
I just need to make that bigger so I can read it all. Okay, good. Thanks, Julie. This is great. Oh my gosh, so excited.
I'm gonna copy this, Julie. I hope you don't mind, and I'm gonna share it with everybody. At this point, it's only the panelists that can see it, so I'm gonna share it with everybody so that you all can see it. Okay, just did that.
Great. I'm so excited. Thanks, Julie. Okay. So I'm so excited about this. Okay. So the first thing that stands out to me is, I'm not sure. Okay. So a couple of things. It might be a personal thing with me, but I'm not sure. I don't want to see 2006 like the first thing I see, because for me and maybe other people, I see 2006 and I just think like outdated. I just think like, why am I, like that's a long time ago. So I would say something like, Julie is a partner and architect at HKP Architects, or a partner and architect at HKP Architects. Julie has more than, I would say, 3 decades or 30 years of experience in urban and rural sustainable design. So a couple things. I already explained kind of the 2006 thing. Like as a client, I just, it doesn't compute right away to me. I don't know, Emily, what you think, but
I agree.
Like, I want to see, I want to see Julie's been a partner for, oh my gosh, math, 15 years. That to me means something. Oh, she's been a partner for 15 years. But 2006, I don't want to like have to do those gymnastics as a client when I'm trying to get to know her. And it takes me back in time. So anyway, I would say, sorry. And then the other explanation for the rest of it was, if you say something like 32 years, I see this so much. A lot of people they have 16 years of experience. Even my bio, I don't love that I have 18 years of experience, because you have to change that every single year, right? And then if you have 19 years experience, it's kind of like, just say 20 or almost 2 decades or something. And then in her case, 32 years, I would say just more than 30 years. Because then you don't have to make sure you're checking it, all the time to make sure those numbers are right. And again, it doesn't matter so much, right? Does a client care that you have 32 years or 30? I hope that makes sense so far. So past projects range from small to large, serving public, private, and nonprofit sectors. I would say, again, instead of jumping into the past, right in the beginning of the bio, I would actually say Julie specializes in projects that serve the public, private, and nonprofit sectors, that range from all sizes, from small to large. Maybe even an example, But again, past projects, it's the least important thing about you, because I know, Julie, you're working now, you have projects now. That's the most important thing. I hope that makes sense too. Okay, I'm gonna keep going on. Julie excels in facilitating all sizes of stakeholder groups and providing creative, data-driven solutions based on realistic, inspiring, and achievable goals. She brings her passion for high performance building to each project. Excels and facilitating all sizes of. I think that's good. I might, if I had time to like maybe just do some like fine tuning, I might, you know, change some things, but I think that's fine. I think that works. I think that's good. And then Julie has a BS in architecture from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, is a LEED accredited professional and a certified, that's perfect, love it. She has received local and national design awards for her work. She's focused on sustainability and human enrichment. Her passion for her community shows in her dedication to servant leadership, and she is currently an elected commissioner for her local public hospital district. That's great. I mean, you perfectly follow the formula that I showed earlier. I think it's great. And just because I know you, Julie, I might, you know, add some more about your passion for sustainable design, or maybe why you decided to pursue passive house certification, that kind of thing. Fortunately, you're a CVG investment partner, so you have access to me and we can talk about this anytime you want. But I think it's, honestly, it's really good, just besides the cleanup in the beginning.
I have a comment on it. It
Yeah.
doesn't say, I'm assuming Julie, I'm assuming you copied and pasted this from the HKP website, but it doesn't say anything about you being at HKP. And I would think that if you were to use this, you know, these bios are really helpful just to have. So when you're doing public speaking or something like that, and they say, send me your bio, that you have that. And I would think you'd want a version, a partner at HKP Architects, you know, for X amount of decades, X amount of years, but I would think you would want to say something about HKP, right? Don't, Xylia, at least mention the name of the firm.
It's probably from her website.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Julie, she said she's shaking her head yes to all the comments and taking notes. Thanks, Julie. We currently don't have bios on our website. I want to change that and write them for all staff. That's great, Julie. I highly recommend it, because your clients, you know, they know you and they know Brian, but they also want to probably know who the rest of the team is they'll be working with. So I love that idea of adding bios to your website. And so yes, Emily, and this is a really good point I want to make to everyone here, actually. So I recommend every single person have I call it a master bio. I don't know what else to call it. It's your master bio. And it's, that is probably the one that you could send out to have it in your proposal template, right? Like on your resume that you include in proposals. Also one that you would put on LinkedIn, you know, in the little about section where you can add your bio, which I highly recommend everyone do as well. And that will have, you know, that Julie is a partner at HKP Architects. But on your website, you do want to leave that off. You don't need to have that, right? And I also just want to remind everyone that you should tweak your bio. Once we have the master bio totally done, hopefully we'll make some progress today. Once you have that and it's good to go, you do want to tweak it according to the application or the reason why you're using your bio. So there's a bio on your website, right? When you use a bio on your resume page for proposal, you may want to revisit the bio and tweak it slightly according to the opportunity you're going after, right? So Julie just went after, hopefully I can say this, Julie, just went after a library project, and, you know, I would tweak her bio saying that she's an expert in libraries and civic and public spaces, which she is, but I would maybe like put that more towards the top. So just something to keep in mind for everyone.
Good one. Do you want to move on to Jean?
Hi, Jean. Jean, I love your existing bio on your website already, and I don't think this is it, but I'm presently serving as office manager at an architectural firm. I have a graphic design, office management, and marketing background, plus a diverse work experience under my belt. That's great. I guess I would want to know what the bio. Oh, hi, Jean. Yes, I would post your existing bio. Yep. You can copy and paste it from your website.
Just grabbing it now.
I think we're going to go. Should we go to Tyler?
Yeah, why don't we
we're gonna get
what's
what's
sorry,
that?
go ahead. I said just let's go with Tyler while Jean's grabbing
Oh,
hers.
that's what I was thinking.
Jean will definitely get time for you.
Okay, cool. So Tyler, thank you. I haven't had a chance to update this since seeing part 1. That's okay. All right, let's look at Tyler's. I'm excited. Tyler considers architecture a dialogue of visual, experiential, and perceptual relationships with its users. His user-centric approach brings a careful hand to space making within the larger scope of each project. Tyler is particularly interested in designing spaces which are part of all facets of our everyday life, as these spaces have the strongest impact on our perception of the built environment. Tyler, I would like to ask you what application this bio is for, because you don't get to what you do, which is an architect at Inverse, until the end. And I'm wondering if this is serving more as a bio for either your personal website or your LinkedIn page. And I'm wondering if you want me to respond to it in that way, or if you want me to respond to it as a bio for the Inverse website. If you can answer that, that'd be helpful. But I'll just start talking about it. So I think this is great. The part I read out, I really like. And I would just say, Tyler, assuming this is for the Inverse website, I would say I would move that way up towards the top. So I would even say, as it is intended for the website, but modeled off of a cover letter. Yeah, so if it's for the Inverse website, I would say, you could even say, as an architect at Inverse Architects, Tyler considers, well, then we have too many architecture in the same sentence, but you could even start with the existing sentence, right? Tyler considers architecture dialogue of visual, experiential, and perceptual relationships with its users. As an architect at Inverse, or a project architect, or whatever it is you usually play, as an architect at Inverse Architects, his user-centric approach brings a careful hand to space making within the larger scope of each project. Does that make sense? I would just move it way up. Because it's not something that's like in the way back history that we talked about earlier. It's like, it's present day. It's really current. It's important. It's why people are on your website for a reason. So I move that part way up. And then also, really that whole last 2 sentences really belong at the top because that's current day. So the fact that you're currently an architect at Inverse and your roles there include project architect, project manager, and BIM manager, I would move that information towards the top. And yeah. And then I would say second paragraph, I would say Tyler is particularly interested in designing spaces which are part of all facets of our everyday life, comma, because like I can tell I need to take a breath myself, so that's where the comma should go. As these spaces have the strongest impact on our perception of the built environment. After earning his Master of Architecture, where I would include, but again, you want to look at the rest of your bios on the Inverse page because they need to match in some way, right? So if no one else on your whole team has where they studied, then don't include the actual name of the university. but I would say it's very common to have the name of the university. So I would say after earning his Master of Architecture at XYZ University, Tyler spent a year living. Honestly, I would drop the year living in Chicago unless it's relevant to your clients now. I don't see how that's important to your clients now. Unless you did something in Chicago, like you interned at SOM or something, then you want to include that. But for now, I don't see any relevancy. And eventually landed in Durham. And I would also, this is a note for everyone. Could be a personal preference of mine. I just think you want to avoid, I want to avoid kind of language where it's passive, you know, or you just found yourself in Durham. Like maybe that's true. I've lived in 7 cities. So I mean, I find myself in different cities too, but I'm not gonna like put that in my bio. Like, oh, I stumbled into Chicago, so I stayed. Like, that's what I tell my friends, but I'm not gonna put it in my professional bio. I would say that you relocated to Durham, or you chose to base yourself in Durham because of XYZ. So if it's because you heard of Inverse and you thought it sounded really amazing and you really wanted to work there, then you could even fit that into that bio. Mm-hmm. Or if you move to Durham because you love its walkability and its XYZ city code, its innovative city coding, I'm totally making stuff up, then you can put that in there. You know, I just want to see a reason. And then, yeah, that you've worked on all projects of all scales and typologies, from single family homes to skyscrapers and master plans. That's great. That could be the last sentence since we're moving the rest of it up. Does that make sense? Questions? Okay. We're going to send you all my email too at the end of this. So if you guys have any follow-up questions, like I did not know you meant by this, then you can just email me later.
Yeah. Before we move forward, I'm just going to post the link to have a meeting with us. Not about your bio per se, but just a general firm introduction. If you'd like to have a kind of a free business coaching call, again, not about your bio, but about your business in general, feel free to use that link. Give Xylee a chance to take a drink of water.
Thank you. I'm getting over a cough, so I need to get some water sometimes, guys.
All right. Do you want to do Deborah's?
Yeah, let's do it. Hi, Deborah. So quick question. It looks like, I mean, this is your about statement because it says about too, right? So I guess I'm curious if you're one person shop at the moment, and this is everything, like this is your about and your personal bio combined because you're just one person at the firm. Yes. Okay. That helps me. Thank you. So I would say, please don't take any offense to this, but I'm just like, Fine Designs has been designing. I would say like the company has been designing. I don't know. I would say, let me think for a second. Okay. So I don't want to repeat designs, which is in your firm name, with designing, but then since 2004 doesn't fit there, right? We need to move that anyway, grammatically. So I'm trying to figure out where I want to put it. I don't want to put it in the beginning because again, we're going back to what we talked about with Julie's bio, where it's like since 2004, comma. In my mind, I think about where I was in 2004 and I think about how long ago that was. And it just doesn't immediately impress me, right? Like what immediately impresses me is Fine Designs has been creating something that's not designing because it's already in your name. I would say Fine Designs has been transforming homes, preserving historic properties, and making valuable contributions to the community for nearly 20 years. That's me is cool. That's like, oh, almost 20 years. Wow, they're established. They're not new. They're not a startup. So that's what I would do there. And this is for everyone again, right? Like if you don't want to repeat. So if your firm name is something architecture, you don't want to say such and such architecture has been producing great architecture. So, like you don't want to repeat words in one sentence. So I hope that makes sense, everybody. The firm's principal, this is just a punctuation thing because I'm a punctuation nerd, but it would be the firm's principal, comma, Deborah Feinbrugg, comma, and then PA, I'm assuming, I don't know what that actually means in this case. Usually it means project architect, but you're probably more than that since you're the owner of the firm, right? So I don't know what PA means, but did you respond? Professional architect. So anyway, yeah, I would do, I would either spell that out. Do you spell that out or no? I guess not. It's probably like
it might be an acronym that, and I'm not sure where you're located, Deborah, but like RA, we see registered architects,
yeah.
AIA, if you're choose not to use AIA, a lot of architects use RA, registered architect. I'm not sure, I haven't heard PA professional architect before, but that may be unique to your region. Either way, consider that, because if it's not unique to your region, it's not a recognizable acronym. I don't think, at least not to two of us, and we've read a lot of
we've worked with architects for like long time.
You might want to visit that.
Yeah. So again, let me go back to the commas. So the firm's principal, comma, Deborah Feinbrugg, comma, PA, comma, enjoys working on a diversity of projects from small renovations. I would say and additions, not or, to new home designs. Also, another word I like is custom, I don't know, or unique or something. Another mainstay of her practice is restoration and preservation of historic buildings, including homes, public properties, and places of worship. She has a bachelor's degree in architecture from the University of Detroit, a graduate certificate in historic preservation from the University of Pennsylvania. That's good. Also, I know this sounds like a fine detail to everyone else, but it looks like you have only one space after your periods, which is what we recommend highly, everyone. But in this case, you have two spaces after the period after worship. So we don't need to get into a debate about like one space or two after periods, which we have, but I would just be consistent. So just choose one and just stick with it. We recommend one. Prior to starting Fine Designs, comma, she worked for the city of Detroit and several architectural firms in Maryland. In these positions, or I would say while serving in these positions, I think it just sounds more active. While serving in these positions, comma, she guided the restoration of public buildings, designed new commercial properties, and private residences. I don't know what NIH means.
I think it's National Institute of Health. That's what I'm familiar with that.
So I would like for the National Institute of Health, like why is it in parentheses? So I don't know, I would either spell it out or drop it.
Yep.
And I would go ahead.
So I think the formatting is strange because she probably grabbed it from the website and it wound up condensing, because I can see memberships and registrations, which is probably
right.
Its own category, which is
right.
Totally fine.
Okay, so yeah, that sentence I would say, while serving these positions, she guided the restoration of public buildings and designed new commercial properties and private residences. So I think that's actually how you should rewrite that one. And then I would say Deborah earned her architecture registration in 1991. I don't know. Again, I'm like, I don't like anything passive. You just received it. Like, no, you went to school forever. You studied forever. You interned forever. You know what I mean? You earned it. So I would just say like earned or something like that. She's currently licensed in Massachusetts and Maine. Perfect. Love it. Great. I hope that makes sense.
Any questions, Deborah? Okay. Cool. Well, why don't we talk a little bit about capitalization around Bachelors of Architecture, BS, your school, because I know a lot of people fumble that or aren't consistent about that. And I mean, you're a great editor, Eileen. I think you should tell people exactly it's earned a bachelor's with an apostrophe, or there's certain times you don't use an apostrophe. So maybe.
Oh man, Emily.
I'm sorry, maybe I'm getting too specific, but you can Google that, because there are certain ways to state your degree.
Yeah, a bachelor's degree is there's a parentheses. So bachelor's degree is parentheses S. Sorry, parentheses.
No.
Comma. What am I saying? I'm blanking.
You're not knowing this word.
You all know what we mean.
Apostrophe.
Apostrophe. So the way she has it is correct. It's confusing, right? Because if you say you have a Bachelor of Architecture degree from NYU, then it's the official name of the degree, Bachelor of Architecture. So then it's capital B, lower O, capital A. If you say it in a casual way, like she has a bachelor's degree in architecture, then it's lowercase b. So exactly the way she has it, lowercase b.
She has uppercase B.
She does, yeah. So you're correct in spotting that it should be lowercase.
Okay.
I just didn't catch it because I was focused more on the structure of the bio.
It's just something that I know we correct a lot when we see bio. So sorry, I didn't mean to get off on a tangent. Let's get to somebody else's bio, but do Google it if you're doing that, because we do see a lot of errors there, and it's not a good error to have on your resume.
And same with master's degree, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Michelle, ready for Michelle?
Sure.
Okay. So Michelle's personal website, speaking opportunity bio. Okay. Michelle is an aspiring designer with a special interest in architecture and interiors. She received her Bachelor of Science degree in Interior Architecture from Ohio University and Master of Architecture with emphasis in interiors from the School of Art Institute of Chicago. Michelle, that was my first employer. That was my first job, was at the School of Art Institute of Chicago. Love it. So I would say, again, you have the 2 spaces after the period. So just change that, very small, minor detail. Actually, after the other periods too. So I would recommend 1. Also, yeah, I mean, I need to know more about you, I think, but just starting the bio with you're an aspiring designer, I would say something like, and I think later in your bio, you do have emerging design professional. I would maybe use emerging towards the front, just because if you're aspiring, then I just wonder, you know what I mean? It starts with what you're working towards, which is great, but it doesn't tell me a whole lot about what you are doing at the moment. So I just have like a little bit of a question about that. I might use emerging instead of aspiring.
Would you say Michelle is an emerging design professional with a special interest in architecture and interiors?
That would work. Okay. And then we would just change the beginning of the 3rd paragraph so it doesn't repeat.
Yeah.
Michelle is currently a project manager at the Capital Construction and Facilities Department at, I have no idea.
Cuyahoga.
In this role, she's managing multiple design projects spanning from new construction and renovation to infrastructure improvements as part, would next have the A, as part of the college's 220 million capital bond campaign. That's great. That's impressive. And it makes you seem like you're not so emerging if you're already a project manager at a college managing multiple design projects that are in the hundreds of millions of dollars, but I don't know. And this is a note for every single person. If your bio is more than one paragraph, right? If it's 1, 2, 3, 7 paragraphs, you never want to repeat the first word of a document. So her first paragraph is Michelle, and the second paragraph starts with Michelle too. So I would start the second paragraph with currently a project manager at blah, blah, blah. Michelle manages multiple design projects. The projects span from, that's how I would do it. As an emerging design professional. So again, we have to rework that one since we're moving that phrase to the beginning. Michelle believes that design changes our world and ultimately dreams to make design services more accessible to all communities through initiating creative thinking and problem solving skills to the masses. I think it needs a little bit of like just copy editing, like fine tuning. It's great, you know, the idea behind it's great. It's about your passion, your purpose. Okay, so Michelle, I would say Michelle believes that design can change our world, and she, because as it stands now, you're saying that design ultimately dreams. So you have to say, and she ultimately dreams to make design services more accessible to all communities. And it's a little bit long, so I might put a period there and then make the next part another sentence. She's passionate about people, process, performance, and technically it should be and, comma, most recently, comma, painting. And I would drop the exclamation point personally. I would use a period. It's cute, but I don't know. I worked in a magazine and my boss just absolutely hated anyone using punctuation marks. So this is like 10 years ago. So I don't know. I just don't use it in professional writing unless it's like a social media post. Hope that helps. Cool. What do we have next?
I don't have, well, let's see. We have thank yous, but we have a good question from Alex in the Q&A that maybe let's address that. Alex says, I find myself struggling between the work that I have done based on my experience with employers versus the information that I wish people would really know about me. Do you find this with others writing their bios? It's a good question. Alex, if you're still with us, I know you had to leave early, but could you give us an example of the type of information that you wish people would know about you? You might have had to leave. I know you had to.
And I'm just pasting the bios because I just realized they were only sent to the panelists and no one else could see them.
Oh, really? I had, okay.
Thank you for the question, Julie. I just posted it so all of you can see the two that I just, Alex is here. Alex is here.
Okay, good. Cool, Alex. Yeah, let's get more clarification on what's the information that you wish people would really know about you.
Mm-hmm.
Like what type? It doesn't even, it can be hypothetical if you don't want to get too personal. What type of information is that? You can post it in the chat or on the Q&A, either way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. Okay. He used to work on historic renovation projects. Great. So you might be working at a firm that you don't do that, but you don't want to lose the reference to that experience. Okay. Highly involved in community work. Okay. Okay, and my guess is that these are maybe even on the personal side. Maybe you can't link them to a specific firm per se. Yeah, right.
Mm,
Got it. That's a good question.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, so the company he's with is focused on national chains. What does that mean? Like chain
I
stores,
guess it's like franchise.
retail,
Yeah,
franchise?
my guess is
Okay.
retail.
So Alex, my follow-up question would be, are you writing a bio for your company webpage? So this company you work with now that focuses on national chain stores, um, is this bio for their website, or is this bio for your portfolio page / LinkedIn?
I have to do one for the employer resume. Okay,
All right.
got it.
Right. I don't know what you mean by employer resume, actually.
I think for his boss. I think he has
Yeah.
to do one for his firm, and they probably said write your own bio,
Right.
proposals and the like. And he does want to do his own.
Okay.
Okay.
Those are two different bios. So I'll give you just a brief overview of what I would do for each one. So for your employer, the bio that will work with your employer that you're going to submit to your employer, it would say Alex is a blank at blank firm. He designs, or he focuses on, or his expertise is in, or right now he's working on XYZ project type, right? That's the first paragraph that we talked about a lot. And if there's a second paragraph, you would say he also has 20 years of experience or 5 years of experience working in historic preservation. Okay, he actually sent a bio to us.
I'm going to grab it and I'm going to post it so everybody can
Okay.
read. I didn't realize that was happening. So I got cut off in the end.
So as an emerging professional, Alex has held many different titles. Currently, Alex is an architectural designer at NOR in downtown Detroit. You have two people in your neighborhood, neck of the woods, Emily.
No, awesome.
Emily lives in Detroit, everyone.
Yeah, representing.
Alex is an architectural designer at NOR. Do you know Emily? In downtown Detroit. He's able to provide high quality work and documentation from schematic design through design development into construction. Alex, is this the bio for your employer?
My guess is yes. Currently,
So,
yeah.
Okay, so Alex, I don't, oh, you just did this during the, that's very impressive. So I don't actually think the first sentence is necessary. Because when I read your bio, it says you have worked on over 100 commercial projects in all these different regions across the US. So maybe you're an emerging professional, but I don't really see a point in putting that front and center. And then also saying you've held many different titles, that tells me nothing. Like, I don't know. It doesn't tell me anything. And also I'm like, he's emerging and he's had many different titles. Like that's more of someone who's actually has a lot more experience would have many different titles. It just doesn't tell me anything. So I'd actually just like scratch it. I would just start with Alex is an architectural designer at NOR in downtown Detroit. So downtown should not be capitalized. So this is another thing that we can talk about forever, everyone. But unless it's a proper name of a place, and maybe Emily, you know more than me, maybe there's downtown Detroit, but like that would only be if downtown Detroit was a separate district that was formal, like a formal district.
Yeah, like if it would be capitalized if it were the financial district,
Right.
downtown Detroit, but downtown in this case, no.
So Detroit should be lowercase. So I would say
Yep.
Alex is
Detroit would be capitalized, just downtown.
downtown. Yeah, that's what I said. Downtown should be lowercase. Alex is an architecture. And actually, Alex, if architectural designer is your official title only, this is something I wanted to mention to everyone. Only your official title should be capitalized, right? So if you're, I don't know, if you're an architect, but your title is project manager, you lowercase architect in the body of a text. So I hope that helps. So Alex is an architectural designer at NOR in lowercase d downtown Detroit, who, I would not say who is able to, that should be implied, who provides high quality work and documentation from schematic design. I would say, yeah, from schematic design through design development, that's fine. The way you have it is fine. Also, everyone, this is another favorite like punctuation thing. So when you're using two words, basically that function is an adjective to a noun, you need to hyphenate them. So like high quality work, like high and quality on their own are fine. But when you say high quality work, high quality needs to be hyphenated. Very small point, but known for project documentation. I would say maybe like, I don't know, appreciated by colleagues, or I don't know. It's fine the way it is. Known for project documentation. I would drop finding answers because again, that's kind of implied, right? I think none of us would have a job if we weren't able to just, kind of find answers to problems that our role faces. So I would say known for project documentation and guiding projects through the zoning and building permit process. Alex has worked on, this is another thing, everyone. Instead of over 100 projects, I would say more than is actually the correct thing to say. But for sure, 99% of people say over. But just a small point. So more than 100 commercial projects. And the rest of it's great for of the US for national clients, including. You don't need a comma after including. So hope that helps. Alex earned his, and that would be a case that Emily brought up earlier. He has Masters of Architecture, but it's capitalized, meaning he's talking about the official name of his degree. So it should be Alex earned his Master of Architecture degree from the University of Detroit, Mercy. Is that the name of a?
Yeah, it might be University of Detroit at Mercy.
At Mercy?
Or, yeah.
Okay.
They're actually a client of ours, so I should know exactly how we call it University of Detroit Mercy. That's the kind of colloquial. I'm just not sure if that's the official, like in writing.
That's another point I want to make to everyone, because I actually just did a bio where helped with someone's bio where it said, after studying at Berkeley, so-and-so did XYZ. And the firm that the bio was for, they're very professional. They're pretty formal. And just saying like Berkeley, like that's slang, it's colloquial, like Emily said. Totally fine when you're talking to your friends or family, like, but in a bio, you want to say, again, it depends on the brand of your firm, right? If your firm is like kind of fun, kind of approachable, and mostly professional, maybe you can get away with UC Berkeley, which is also short, right? Mm-hmm. If you work at a very formal firm, then I would say the University of California at Berkeley. Mm-hmm. So just keep that in mind. I would always veer on the real name of the university myself. Is a lead AP. I think that's fine. I would drop the parentheses. Like people know what that is. And recently completed ULI Michigan Larson Leadership Program and a Detroit CKLDP as a scholar and mentor. I think that's all good. I, in this case, would drop the acronym CKLDP and drop the parentheses and just use the full name. So AIA Detroit Christopher Kelly Leadership Development Program. So the only time you want to use an acronym is if you're using it again in the same page, right? Like the same website page later on. Previous experiences, Alex has been a successful project leader, community organizer, and celebrated. I have no idea what that is.
I think that it got cut off.
So I would just say in previous experiences, I would say in previous roles or previously.
Here it is. He just reposted it. I'll post it to everybody now.
So in previous experiences, yeah, again, I would change that. I would say in previous roles, or I would say previously, comma, previously, Alex has been a successful project leader, community organizer.
Do you even need the previously? Can we just assume you're still a successful project leader?
It seems like it's outside of his current role though.
Okay.
So Alex, I love the content, but it's long. Thank you, Alex. Love the content, but that's too much. Like we need to make 2 sentences out of that at least. So I'd say previously, Alex has been a successful project leader, and you don't need to say A every time either. So Alex has been a successful project leader, community organizer, and celebrated bicycle tour guide, celebrated bicycle tour guide, and the founder of Bike to Work Day in Metro Detroit, period. And also, I don't think you need to capitalize founder here. So I would lowercase founder. Then I would say he's also served as an adjunct instructor at his alma mater and an architectural designer with a presence on some of Southeast Michigan's recognizable historic renovations. Hope that makes sense.
Paragraph. That tells me a lot about you, Alex. I like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, two paragraphs or 2 sentences. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I know we're already at time, but if anyone has any final, good. Thank you, Alex.
Leave before posting hers, so hopefully you can work with her independently, Celia, when next time you talk to her.
Sure.
She just posted that she had to leave for a meeting, so we didn't get to hers, but great. Wow, we're almost right at time. I'm glad more people didn't do bios because that would have been a challenge. But, but hopefully thank you so much, Celia. I hope it was helpful to everybody. I always think, even when we get into the small details of capitalization and punctuation, I think we all still have a lot to learn about that. And Celia is so good at that. I just like to kind of internalize and remember everything she says about that kind of thing, because it's been a while since we were all in school and had somebody looking over our writing.
Very true.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts, Celia?
I just want to say, Deborah wrote, hey, I haven't looked at this for a while. Thanks. Thank you all for coming. I would just want to say thank you all for coming. Thank you for being brave and showing your bios here. I know it's, maybe it can be intimidating or something, but I think it's really, really fun. And so you all made this webinar what it is by providing your already great bios that we're hoping to just get to 100%. So I would just say, keep going. Don't be afraid. Just dive in there, and it should be fun. I know also a lot of people get nervous writing about themselves, but I would just say, like, your bio is the one place where you're able to brag a little bit. like that's where clients are looking to see what your expertise is and to make sure you're qualified and the right person for the job. So I would say, don't be so shy or of course it's always going to be humble, but the bio is really the place to put your stuff, your passion, why you're in this business in the first place. You know, you could be in banking. Like why, what gets you up in the morning? And then, you know, what degrees do you have? What certifications? You know, what lights you up? What do you specialize in? What are you known for? So just keep that in mind. And yeah, I just think it should be fun. I know it can be stressful, but it should just be fun. And ultimately you'll end up with a bio that just really shows your personality and gets clients excited to work with you.
Great. Okay, thanks everyone. I hope some of you, or if not all of you, will take me up on our offer to have a coaching session with CVG. The link is in the chat. I'm going to find it and post it one more time for ease. And give me a second. One more time, just so it's the bottom of the chat. I will send you a recording of this in case you had your bio reviewed and want to go through it in more detail.
Info too.
Thank you, everyone. All right. Well, look for an email with the recording. Thanks, Celia.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.